I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but in the scriptures, there's 1,400 different accounts of money and finances, and not very many talking about salvation. Why is that? Well, if you listen to Are You Saved teaching, you'll understand why, but the short answer of it is, heaven is coming here. But that won't even be a concern. We don't need to worry about it if we're not prepared. If our fruit's not good, if we're not trusting the process to get to the place where we can receive what we're getting, doing all the bearing of the fruit and growing the fruit and cultivating the fruit for, we'll never get to the next part that I believe is part of the preparation that affects all of us and everybody in the world, whether they want to admit it or not, is their finances. But what if for a second we literally read what it said and took it literally? Now, it is a metaphor. Yeshua is speaking of a metaphor, but what if we took it literally to understand that it's not talking about health and wealth and give more to the ministry. It's talking about how do you manage what he's given you? How do you manage your money? Because you'll never get to the point where the testimonies came from people being blessed by their tithing if you don't understand how money works. If you don't understand why he gave you the money, why he gave you possessions, you'll never do the right thing with it. And if you have nobody to teach you and guide you through these pitfalls of life, called baptism, called cultivating fruit, called trusting the process, you'll fail. The lazy servant, the one who dug it in the ground and thought because he didn't know when the master was coming back, neither did he care when the master was coming back, he was going to take his paycheck and bury it. He's going to take his inheritance and bury it. He's going to take his lottery ticket and bury it. Could you imagine that? I just read, I think yesterday, somewhere in Maryland, that's the only reason I read it because it said Maryland, that's where I'm from, but a guy in Maryland won the Powerball, $561 million. Can you imagine taking that $561 lottery ticket and digging a hole and putting it in the ground? I'm going to save it. I hope they don't save it for longer than 180 days because it ain't no more good if you do. But I don't think the reality sets in when we talk about scripture and we talk about money, because usually the reference point has always come from a point of give, give, give. A lot of us work for money. We don't work for wealth. And because we work for money, a lot of our emotions, our loyalties, our sovereignties belong to the person giving us the money. Rather be an employer, rather be a spouse. Your loyalty is tied to the money. But wealth, and this is Rabbi's definition, so I'm not going to take credit for it, wealth is having time and money. So the money to do whatever you want to do, and also the time. Many people have a lot of money, but they don't have time to spend it. I tell people all the time when I sit down and counsel them about budgets or their finances, that your finances, you're running a business. And it all came from Matthew 25. You got possessions. He gave you money, gave you all these wonderful things. If you don't have them, he promised that you could have them. If you do what he says do. If you follow the pattern exactly. That's a teaching for the kids taking notes. Rabbi Steve. But the problem is we get caught up in the getting that we don't realize what we're getting. And a lot of times we're getting a blank check, an empty check, a check that you're going to try to cash and it's going to bounce. We have this idea that the 100% is ours. I just now looked at the clock after all this time. I'm sorry. I still got time. You think because you earned it, you went to work, you went and had a headache and you went anyway, you turned in your sick days, you earned vacation days, you think 100% is yours. And you think you give him 10%. He just asked for 10%. You're being obedient doing that, and I appreciate everybody who does the 10%, and the second tithe and the third tithe. That's all awesome. That is what Rabbi says, that's your reasonable service. Tithing and offerings is reasonable. But we mess it up in our head and we're not able to give. We can't make decisions. We can't do what we need to do in our life when it comes to our finances because we think it's ours and none of it's yours. All 100% of what you get is his. Is the covenant for today? Are we doing what we do because we believe the covenant is for today? Yes. So are all the promises listed for us today? Wait, they are? Everybody, yes. We got to go back and listen to some teachings from Rabbi. I ain't going to call nobody out because the camera can't see who shook their head. The promises are there to show you if he did it before, he can do it again. These promises is for people going into the land. But wealth to establish his covenant is giving you letting you know that if you do what he said he's going to do, he's going to bless you. My mom said, Billy. She didn't want me to move down south, first of all. So you didn't move down south. Where that rabbi at? It's like, I don't actually know where he is right now. Is there something you need me to tell him? Yes, you need to tell him I said thank you. Tell me your mama said thank you. I said, thank you for what? He gave my baby a job. I didn't know, what are you going to do? You went down there and ain't had no job. I know you going down south. That's how y'all got to follow it. That's how she took. She probably watching. And I was worried about my baby. I know how you move your children down there and took your wife down there. I know y'all following the cult, the cloud. I don't know what y'all doing, but y'all down there and it's down the south. And I ain't want nothing to happen to my baby. And you know you're brown and you going down. Yeah, I get it from all sides. I'm just letting y'all know. I get it from all sides. Les Brown said, leap and grow wings on the way down. Unless you start at this very moment getting your mindset right that the money is not about you, or getting money is not about you, or that the money you get is not all yours, it belongs to him, and then it comes down. Him, you, bills. Him, you, bills. Him, you, bills. Leap. A lot of you just standing right on the edge of the mountain. You ain't jumping. Like, forget this. It's all my money. And guess what? You're going to go through this process of getting in line and getting ready and getting set to jump, and you're going to jump. And guess what's going to happen? What could happen? The wind comes along and smacks you up against the rock, and you fall to the bottom. And there you lay at the bottom of that cliff, that mountain, and you stay there, broken, busted, and disgusted, because your why wasn't big enough for you to get back up and keep going. Your why has to be big enough for you to change the mindset, to stop living paycheck to paycheck, and actually try to live the life that he expects you to live, a life of abundance, a life of wealth, a life of success in him, his way. Not in you, your way, when it's all yours. In him, his way, when it's all his, and he allows you to have control and possession over what he allows you to have control and possession over. Rather be the 5 or the 2 or the 1 or none.